Yeah, let the scales decide. Hold up, wait up, odds. Yeah, let the scales decide. It's profit over pride. Gotta keep this wave alive. Risk it for the game. That's the only side. Checks is in my favor. See this power never divides. Checks and balances stacking up the green. Cash flow heavy, yeah, American dream. Scales just tipping, yeah, running up the scene. Power in my hand, yeah, hustling supreme. Checks and balances stacking up the green. Cash flow heavy, yeah, American dream. Scales just tipping, yeah, running up the scene. Power in my hand, yeah, hustling supreme. With the vision, yeah, blueprint mine. Counting every dollar, turning nickels into dime. Trap game, sitting there, vetoing lanes. Legend in the making, put respect on my name. Hustle in my veins, got the streets on lock. Wrist stay dripping like a clock. Top, I'm trying to balance, but they tipping like a scale. Cashing all these checks while I'm getting all this mail. Say racks in the safe, yeah, racks in the safe. State of all stay full, state of all stay full. Pockets overweight, we don't play by the rules. Set pockets overweight, we don't play by the rules. See the feds wanna audit, but the books stay clean. I'm a ghost in the trap, I'm the one you ain't seen. Whip it so fast and I leave you in the dust. With the gold in my chain and you know I got a tux. Trapping all day, you know the grind don't stop. Making all these plays, gotta make it to the top. Diamonds in my grill, yeah, gleam no flaws. Justice in my hustle, yeah, above the law. Money talks loud, I don't hear no hate. Balance out the game, yeah, serve your own plate. Enemies plotting, I'm 10 steps ahead. Counting all this money while I'm laying in the bed. Hold up, wait up, odds, yeah, let the scales decide. It's profit over pride, gotta keep this wave alive. Risk it for the game, that's the only side. Checks is in my favor, see this power never divide. Checks and balances, stacking up the green. Cash flow heavy, yeah, American dream. Scales just tipping, yeah, running up the scene. Power in my hand, yeah, hustling supreme. Checks and balances, stacking up the green. Cash flow heavy, yeah, American dream. Scales just tipping, yeah, running up the scene. Power in my hand, yeah, hustling supreme. Yeah, shadows in the track where the grim reaper creep. Blood on the ledge, yeah, secret very deep. Cold steel flash, yeah, hear them scream. Nightmares fuel, yeah, running up a scheme. No solar cell, got a debt unpaid. Graveyard shift, take it to the grave. Scales dripping red, balance in the sin. Checks cashing out for them dead presidents. Chains on my wrist like the devil's got a grip. Ink on the deal, watch a candle just drip. Smoke in the air, mask in the stench. Traps in the dungeon, then you know I got a hit. Voices in the hall, yeah, counting every loss. Scales on the tip, yeah, carrying the cross. Hollow at the game, lead them boys to a run. Checks coming in, boy, I can't be bought. Bash on the floor, you know I gotta check the cash. Heads at the door, you know I gotta hide the cash. Blade in the palm, yeah, I gotta cut it raw. Plug overseas, stay above the law. Make the White House black, count the money in the dark. Whipping this work, leave stains, no spark. Checks hit the trap, but the block stay grim. Scales tipping heavy, got justice again. Justice again. Yeah. You know what it's about. It's about holding on to all this power. And as you can see, I got a lot of it. And I'm not sharing any of it. Cause guess what? It's me, Big Zeus, doing what I wanna do. Checks and balances, stacking up the green. Cash flow heavy, yeah, American dream. Scales just tipping, yeah, running up the scene. Power in my hand, yeah, hustling supreme. Checks and balances, stacking up the green. Cash flow heavy, yeah, American dream. Scales just tipping, yeah, running up the scene. Power in my hand, yeah, hustling supreme.
You're not happy here.
All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You know exactly why we are here. Let's get this show officially started. We don't got much time to do you know what. All right, let's get up out of here.
Deja vu, it's me, Zeus. It's deja vu when I'm running up the reps. I'm like the Terminator screaming, I'll be back. It's deja vu when I'm not here flying first class.
We don't know what we say, we just be yelling bonjour, am I right? I'm on top of my game, ahead of the class. All right, JTA. Marissa, good morning, thank you. Sitting in my living room screaming how we made it. This is how it's supposed to happen when you're rich and famous. The algorithm turned me to a maniac. I guess we going viral cause my zodiac. Let's go, I got all these numbers on my spreadsheet. Benjamin Franklin is my bestie, I see ya. W. Shea, I see ya. They don't get replies. Buenos dias, Philly Chica, nice to see you. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here it goes. You know what this is about. You know it hurts every time. Here it goes. Let's go.
I'ma take off in
MAGA demons.
I'll tell you what, I haven't gone into Zeus's live in a couple of days. That shit was radical.
Oh, really?
Very radical.
It was horrible. I'm like, Zeus has gone way off the rails.
All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Once again, we are back in the Thunderdome. I am your host. I am your pilot. Someone asked, am I a rapper? Well, you can call me that, but you know, I do what I do when I get in there and I lay it down like a carpenter, W. Zeus. I make pretty good stuff. So you can go look it up. Seriously. 1600 Pennsylvania actually is on the way. Yeah, that's going to be a combination of, you know, the real stuff that, you know, goes on out here. In these streets, and then, you know, we're merging it with politics. So yeah, 1600 Pennsylvania Ave is on the way. And I did that because people, especially the Zeus haters, they came to me and they said, Zeus, when I met you, you used to make such good music, and all of a sudden you just started talking politics. So I said, you know what, why don't I take both sides of that and then I combine it, W Zeus, and it's coming. Now, let's get into what we got to talk about today, because once again, we're gathered here to save our great country from the evil clutches of Donald J. Trump and his legion of MAGA demons who are hell-bent on not only getting us into a 1929-style depression, one like we've never seen before, because this one, there won't be any eggs, but they also want to bring us into an official World War III, and we have the most incompetent. I just can't even get into it. So before I do that, let's take care of some very, very important housekeeping items. For those of you who don't know who I am, I go by the name of Zeus, or some like to say Triple H. And why do they call me Triple H, ladies and gentlemen? Well, it's quite simple. The first H, ladies and gentlemen, is because I'm honest. I'm the most honest person on social media, hands down. The second H is, well, it's because I'm humble. There's nobody more humble than me. All right, listen, if I get it wrong, I'll be the first to apologize. All right, but just because your feelings are hurt, it doesn't mean I owe you an apology. Am I right, Marsha? It most likely means you need to sit your special behind down and continue to listen to this special broadcast. All right. And then the last and the final H, ladies and gentlemen, which many of you know is arguably the most important H of them all, is because I am and will always remain what? The most handsome. Yeah, you like how I did that? Now, like I said, many of you are very, very familiar with what we do on this side of TikTok, on this side of town. What we do over here is very spectacular. There's no one on the app. There's no one on the internet that does what goes on over here. It's very, very special work. It's done by a lot of us who love our great country, and we don't want to see Donald Trump and his supporters ruin it, right? What we do is we tell these folks the God honest truth no matter what, even if that means that we might have to take, you know, an L, so to speak, all right? W. Erica. Thank you, Erica. We tell the truth. And we debunk, W. Rick, all right, we debunk these lies in record time, all right, so that they don't continue to go around on the internet, because, you know, lies, they travel a lot further than the truth. So that's what they say, you know, if something usually sounds too good to be true, ladies and gentlemen, it most likely is, W. Zeus. If it sounds too good to be true, it most likely is a lie, especially if it's coming out of the White House, right? And so what I'll say is this: are there any Trump supporters out there left that are, you know, because they come to my show and they listen to every single thing that I say, and I know they do because every day, you wouldn't believe this, ladies and gentlemen, every day I end my live, you know, I spend the whole time on the show, don't I? Hey, if you're a Trump supporter, put a 1 in the chat. Do they ever put a 1 in the chat? No, they don't. They say, because Zeus, I don't want you to embarrass me in front of my family and in front of my friends. Either you, Zeus, or some of the aggressive. They call the panelists that I bring up aggressive. They say I just can't handle the way, you know, Nutty brings it. I just can't handle it the way Jim and you know, Val. I can't handle Dubs. They say these things to me, and I say to myself, all you have to do is attacking you too. All you have to do is simply tell the truth. And they can never do it. And these are people who actually call themselves Christians. And so that's why I start bringing in a lot of the Christian stuff too. Because, you know, I don't care what religion you are. Just tell the truth. But I know a lot of these Trump supporters, they're being manipulated by their dear leader. And I know that they go and sit in these churches all across the country, and Donald Trump he posts something on social media, then they pastors, they Sunday school teachers, the deacon, and all of them, they just start repeating what Donald Trump says. So I said, we got spiritual warfare out here. So what I'll say is this, are there any Trump supporters out there right now? Because I'm going to give you the opportunity of a lifetime before I get started. Yeah, the work they do is satanic. I got to say that. Yeah, the work MAGA is doing is pure satanic work. All right. I'm going to give you an opportunity this morning to leave right now. Go ahead and leave this live. And you go hang out with those fake TikTok hosts because they'll lie to you, not me. I'm going to tell you some god-awful truth, all right? Whether you like it or not. And it's designed to shock you out of that cult, all right? So if you don't want to experience that, leave right now because it's going to get very, very uncomfortable for you, all right? It's going to. I'm 100% guaranteeing you that it's going to be very uncomfortable for you on this platform if you are a Trump supporter. All right. So leave right now because, like I said, it's going to get very, very uncomfortable. But get this. You don't got to take my word for it. Listen to your leader.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned,
Good morning.
if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
All right. And there you have it. The doors to the Thunderdome have officially closed. And I'm not taking any responsibility for what happens because sparks are going to start flying. I try my best to manage those sparks, but I'm not taking any responsibility. You've entered at your own risk. All right. W. Rick. Welcome to the Thunderdome. W. Kabira. Now, let me ask the audience a very, very quick question. Just yes or no. How many of you, does Donald Trump have mental problems in terms of his cognitive abilities? Just quick yes or no, because the jig is up, ladies and gentlemen. The jig is truly, I just want to see where we're at. Anyone out there, if there's, I don't want to see any no's. Oh, we got unapologetic. Woo, unapologetic. She said no. And that's what I wanted to see, honestly. If I wouldn't have seen any, if it would have been all yeses, ladies and gentlemen, I wouldn't hit play. All right, I wouldn't hit play. But because I've seen some no's, we have no other choice but to drag all of us through this rambling thing Donald Trump did yesterday. And I'm not going to play it all because there's just so much evidence that he's incompetent. But I think this is worth noting. There was remarks he made at the White House flagpole ceremony. Now, for context, I didn't even get 1 minute into this rambling. But as soon as he started talking, I said, you know what? Let me just look into what he's starting off talking about. So the first thing he says is, the White House opened a little after 1800. I just want you all to know, according to the internet, it opened November 1st, 1800. That's an easy thing to remember. What? November 1st, 1800. Got it. All right. So he should have known that. But listen to how he says it opened. And then the next thing he did was he talked about Jerome Powell and the interest rates being cut. And he said that Europe did it 10 times. You look it up. They say it's only been cut 8 times. And that's since June of 2025. And so with that being in the back of your head, let's just listen to how Donald Trump, and let's just ask ourselves, how long does it take for him to start lying?
They call it a flagpole from the grass. They have a little one on top, very little one. This is about...
Hold on. Here it goes.
So the White House opened about 1800. A little before that, it's just a tad.
He says the White House opened at around 1800, just a little bit before that. So he's already starting out lying. I said, who just starts off lying? I mean, seriously, this guy can't tell the truth to save his life.
And I've always said, why doesn't it have a flagpole from the grass? They call it a flagpole from the grass. They have a little one on top, very little one. This is about the largest you'll ever see, and it's tapered. It's at a quality that you guys rarely get to even put up. They do that for a living. They're incredible people. I don't know them, but I love them.
He doesn't know them, but he loves them. This is about a flagpole being put in the grass. This, to him, this is a modern day marvel because he's never seen a flagpole coming out of the grass, MAGA. And remember, I'm only playing this because unapologetic, she says she doesn't think Donald Trump has any cognitive issues.
I would bet that they all voted for Trump. I mean, I don't know for a fact, but I think so. But we're about to lift it, and we also have one going on what's called the front or the north. We have one going there, identical. So we'll have one on this side of the building, we'll have one on that side of the building properly placed. In this case, we had a lot of choices, putting it on that hill, putting it different places. It's such a beautiful pole, we thought we'd put it near. I mean, it always looks...
Unapologetic, are you still in the chat? I just wanted to know. He's been talking almost 2 minutes. What the heck is he saying, unapologetic? What has he said? Oh, okay. Unapologetic, please come up here. Could you come up here and translate what he's already said? Because unapologetic, I'm going to have to make you apologize this morning. Because other than that, if you don't apologize, unapologetic, you know what I got for you queued up? A first-class trip straight to hell. All right, now I've sent you an invite, unapologetic, but I can tell your pride is getting the best of you right now because you know this crap doesn't make any sense. And I hate to say strong words like that.
When it's near a Doral, I put it right near. I have a similar pole. And these are the best poles anywhere in the country, or in the world, actually.
These are the best polls anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world. You left the G7 meeting, a meeting that should be protecting us Americans, to bring your special behind to the White House to play in the grass with poles. What does he think he is? A dancer? Is he trying to be a dancer all of a sudden? Listen, W Zeus, I just thought of that. He thinks he's a dancer.
They're tapered. They have the nice top. I don't know if you people are aesthetic. They're the fake news. I don't know about I don't know there. But it's a very exciting project to me. And then at 11 o'clock, we're lifting the flag. But we're going to lift the pole now, and then they're going to the other side, get that, and then we're going to do, I think, 2 flag liftings.
2?
We'll be putting it up at 11 on here, and a couple of minutes later on the other side. We'll start here at 11. So that'll be very nice and very patriotic. We're doing well, and as a country, if the Fed would ever lower rates, would buy debt for a lot less. It's a shame. This guy, I haven't...
So how did he go from flagpole lifting right into interest rates? You can't tell me this isn't a sign of cognitive decline, unapologetic. Please tell me what was going on in his environment that would trigger him to start talking about interest rates in the middle of talking about, well, I don't know what he was talking about. Supposedly planting flagpoles in the grass. What's the connection, unapologetic? You won't get in the box and defend this lie, this dementia. You won't defend this. I know you won't, because you would embarrass yourself.
You ever have a guy that's not a smart person and you're dealing with him and you have to deal? He's not a smart guy. He's worried about inflation. I said,
you ever have a guy that you're dealing with that's not a smart person? I'm sitting there looking at him saying, sir, are you talking about yourself? Because the whole country has to deal with you. The whole country. And you know what? I didn't want to bring his family into this. But I'll say this about Donald Trump's family. I see this. You would rather deal with him. You would rather put him on us Americans and subject us all to this than for y'all to do the right thing and commit this man to an insane asylum. What a disgrace. Just take your dad, take your brother, take whatever, take your uncle and put him somewhere where he can get the appropriate care he needs, because the rest of the country, the rest of the world, we don't deserve this. W Zeus.
If there's inflation in 6 months or 9 months, you lower the rates or you raise the rates. You can do whatever you want, Brian, right? So let's say there's rampant inflation, which there's none. You know what there is? There's success. I got a call from Congress last night. Sir, there's a problem. I said, what is it? Money is pouring in. We don't know how to account for it. I said, check the tariffs. $88 billion came in from tariffs. No inflation. And it's going to get even more so. I know what I'm doing. So we have a stupid person, frankly, at the Fed. He probably won't cut today. Europe had 10 cuts, and we had none. And I guess he's a political guy. I don't know. He's a political guy who's not a smart person, but he's costing the country a fortune. So what I'm going to do is, he gets out in about 9 months. He gets fortunately terminated. Biden, I would have never reappointed him. Biden reappointed him.
Okay, I got to stop it right there because now we're into Joe Biden, and we all know Trump appointed the Jerome Powell, not Joe Biden. Trump did. Biden reappointed him. So obviously, and I know a lot of you supporters out here of Donald Trump, you don't know the history. And I figured this out. What Trump says, if you don't know the history, it makes a lot of sense to a lot of you. But unfortunately, to those of us who've been following what's been happening for a while, we know this is a sign of cognitive decline. This guy is way too old to be the president of the United States. We already saw the photo where he had the catheter going down his leg. You seen that? And if you've seen recently his hand, oh my gosh. This is just disgusting and this is disturbing. So what I'm going to do, ladies and gentlemen, because in the interest of time, and there's more I got to share with you, we just got to do a round of Lake of Fire. Should we do a round of the Lake of Fire, ladies and gentlemen? Ladies and gentlemen, should we do the Lake of Fire? Okay, fine, you got me. All right, let's warm it up, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and warm up the Lake of Fire. Karma, I'm absolutely woke. You can see my eyes, right? Do you see me over here nodding off, Karma? Or do you see me awoke? Ladies and gentlemen, let's not just send Donald Trump. Let's send Karma special behind where she came from. Straight to hell! Hey, Karma, go back to sleep. All right? Go back to sleep. And do me a favor.
Silence, you MAGA demon!
Karma, I have no conscience about sending folks like you straight to hell. Because once you all made it clear to me that you want to go to hell as long as you can be with your dear leader, I said, well, you know what? All bets are off. I'm a good person. If you ask anybody that really, I'm a very nice person, but there's just zero tolerance for MAGA at this point because there's nothing you could actually point at, Karma, and say Donald Trump has done a successful job at dealing with it. You can't point at nothing, and I know that, and you do too, W. Zeus. Hey, Karma. And maybe you didn't hear my PSA reminder at the beginning of the show, but let me give you another reminder about how we run things over here on this side of TikTok.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now.
You hear that, Karma?
Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
Yeah, because ever since, Karma, here's the thing. People say, Zeus, when did you snap on MAGA and become this heartless? Because a lot of you knew me before. And I said, January 6th. Yeah. Once I started seeing all these Trump supporters try to turn themselves into victims on that day after what they did to the cops, I mean, as a brother here in the United States of America, right? And I'd hate to bring race into this. We have to be taught when you deal with cops, you know what they say? Comply or die. That's how it is. Comply or die, especially if you're a brother out here in America, all right? And we've known this ever since we've grown up. You get pulled over. Why are you pulling me over? You look suspicious, And so you got to comply or die. Then I turn on the TV and I see on January 6th, a bunch of Trump supporters beating up cops. And I'm sitting there going, whoa. Y'all just going to sit there and let them do that? And then I said, okay, well, at least they're going after these criminals. Then I'm talking to these folks and they're on TikTok and they're trying to defend it. And I'm sitting there going, how the heck did you turn yourselves into a victim? Anybody else in this country, especially brothers and sisters out here, and they know I'm right, they would have been 6 feet under easy. But for some strange reason, MAGA seems to think that they could be victims on that day. No, you'll never be a victim, in my opinion. All right. And I will always, until you take full responsibility for your actions that day, you'll never be a victim in my book. You'll just be, as far as I'm concerned, a seditionist, treasonous traitor. All right. W. Zeus. Now, let's get back to the cognitive issue because we're not going to let this go. Let's get back to it. And it wouldn't be a show if we didn't let Lawrence O'Donnell weigh in on this.
Gets dementia.
Hold on.
Well, if Donald Trump gets dementia, how will we know? Donald Trump's mental decline, which is more and more obvious, started from such a low level of mental processing power that it's hard to track his decline.
It really is.
It's from low to lower. And then there are days like today when Donald Trump asks himself out loud in public if he is allowed to appoint himself chair of the Federal Reserve. Now, it may be tiresome to hear, but we must not grow weary
We can't.
of making the point that no other president was ever capable of saying anything as stupid or as indicative of dementia as that. Am I allowed to appoint myself chair of the Federal Reserve? And we must not grow weary of reminding ourselves what the White House press corps would have done if Joe Biden ever said anything like that.
Correct.
And how big the headlines would be in the next day's print editions of the New York Times and the Washington Post and every newspaper in the country. Because if we grow weary of making the point of how singularly stupid and possibly clinically demented Donald Trump's statements are,
Correct.
then we will become part of the normalization process of those statements, which most of the American news media has unwittingly participated in. And 14-year-olds in this country will think it's perfectly normal for a president to say those things.
I feel so confident thanks to what
You hear this? We have to continue to reveal and expose Donald Trump's cognitive decline, ladies and gentlemen, because other than that, we're going to end up becoming zombies like his supporters. Good point, Lawrence.
And on a day when the President of the United States is reportedly in a meeting in the Situation Room where he is trying to decide how much to support or fully join a war that he opposed a week ago, it must be reported as part of that very same story. That the person who is supposed to be in charge in that Situation Room meeting, the person who is supposed to be the decider in chief, as George W. Bush put it, in that meeting doesn't know if he can appoint himself chair of the Federal Reserve, and some of the highest ranking people in that room with that president also don't know the answer to that question. Pete Hegseth has no idea if Donald Trump can appoint himself chair of the Federal Reserve. Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump have no idea that Donald Trump doesn't even have the legal power to fire the chair of the Federal Reserve, and he also doesn't have the power to unilaterally replace the chair of the Federal Reserve because it requires a confirmation vote by the United States Senate. That's how small the brain is that is sitting at the head of the table in the Situation Room deciding just how much the United States of America should participate in the war between Israel and Iran, that Donald Trump all but promised his voters could not possibly occur on his watch. In fact, that's exactly what he promised. Donald Trump spent his entire presidential campaign saying Vladimir Putin would not have dared to launch a full-scale war against Ukraine if Donald Trump had been president. Donald Trump spent his entire presidential campaign claiming that Hamas would not have dared to attack Israel on October 7th, 2023. Donald Trump promised no wars if he got elected president. Donald Trump promised he would solve and end Vladimir Putin's war in Ukraine. On the first day of his presidency, Donald Trump promised he would bring peace to the Middle East, the entire region. On the first day of his presidency, and then once in the White House, Donald Trump began promising White Lotus-style beach resorts in Gaza. And if that is not a sign of dementia in a 79-year-old man, then it is at minimum proof that Donald Trump has no idea what he's talking about when...
W. Lawrence O'Donnell, because that was free education for you, MAGA, and he just did it in a way where you knew what he was doing. He was roasting Donald Trump and you at the same time. W. Lawrence again, because as much as MAGA likes to try to pretend like we don't see it, we see it, all right?
He talks. If Donald Trump gets dementia, how will we know? I asked that question on Twitter a week before Donald Trump's first inauguration as president. I asked that question before a group of mental health professionals got together to
Now let's stop there because we got to move it along. But This is a good question. If Donald Trump gets dementia, has cognitive issues, how would we know? What should we do? All right. And this is a very, very good question. So what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is we're going to number one, go to what was happening yesterday in the Senate hearings. All right. And we'll start here. Dick Durbin played a montage of clips showing Donald Trump's obvious cognitive decline. And the question is, when is Jake Tapper going to actually do his job? All right. So let's get this on the record. Unapologetic, are you still there? Because I want to talk to you, because I want you to tell us what this all means in your world.
Don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
Hold on.
Don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know. The windmills are driving the whales crazy, obviously. I have concepts of a plan. They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the... What I know about magnets is this. Give me a glass of water. Let me drop it on the magnets. That's the end of the magnet. The kidney has a very special place in the heart. Right, and then I see the disinfectant, where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? This is a tough hurricane, one of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water. When you ran out the healthy arms, you ran out of really healthy. They had great arms, but they ran out. It's called sports. It's called baseball in particular. Can't understand a word he said. Did you just see Maduro at Venezuela? It's unbelievable. I don't know about it. I mean, obviously I'm not involved.
He wants to know why the proclamation was signed in the dark.
I don't know when it was signed because I didn't sign it. Other people handled it.
Do any of these statements raise a question of cognitive ability?
You hear that? Do any of those raise the question of cognitive ability, MAGA? Raceless face, send me a guest request. All right. Other than that, do me a favor and just zip it, because I'm not really doing the talking. Your dear leader is. And what we all see happening on this show is you're freaking out. Yeah, you voted for that. I don't know why you did it, but you did it. You sold your country out. You're not a patriot. You're a traitor. W. Zeus. Now, let's go into this Senate hearing, and we're going to hear from John Kennedy, all right, a MAGA demon, all right, and they're trying to beat up the Biden administration because they're trying to say people around Joe Biden that knew President Biden had some cognitive issues, they have an obligation. But if you really, really listen to this, it doesn't apply to President Biden. It applies to his dear leader. So the question remains, MAGA, what should America do with Donald Trump? All right, but this isn't Democrats. This is a MAGA demon talking. All right, and they think it's a gotcha moment for Joe Biden, but what they're really doing is giving us all the answers for what we should do to Donald Trump, because we've just documented his cognitive decline. So let's go ahead and do this, and then we'll get to the lake of fire.
You have all been staffers. You've worked in government. You've had a boss. In Mr. Spicer's case, his boss was the President of the United States. Let's suppose the President, you were using your experience as a staffer. You were working for the President, any President, hypothetically a President. And let's suppose the President started talking like he was from outer space. Let's suppose the President became fatigued very easily. He couldn't finish a sentence without taking a nap. Let's suppose the President, he was just physically in bad shape, mentally and physically. Mentally, he may or may not have, you're not a doctor, neurodegenerative disease, but physically you can see you could bake a Thanksgiving turkey and the time it takes him to walk across the stage. What do you think, as a a member of his staff, what do you think is your moral obligation? To say, wait a minute, the president can't do the job anymore. I know you're loyal folks. You believe in your president, this president, whichever president. I'm speaking hypothetically. You're loyal. You want to be a good staffer, but you also have a moral obligation. How do you reach that decision, Professor? And I'll go to each of you.
Senator, I think the first thing you would have to do in a situation like that is exercise your own judgment. How serious is this problem? Because everybody has moments when they lose focus, it happens. But if somebody thinks this is a really serious problem, I think the first thing to do is the most difficult, which is to say to the president, because the 25th Amendment also provides that the president can say, I'm unable to exercise the powers and duties of my office.
And suppose the
That would
president
be extremely
says,
difficult. But
25th Amendment.
Trust me, I can. And it's clear to you that he has neurodegenerative disease and he can't. What do? Do you have a moral obligation as a staff member to go to the American people and say, we've got a problem here, it may cost me my career?
Senator, I think at that point you have an obligation to talk to the vice president, who is in charge of the Section 4 process under the 25th Amendment.
What about you, Mr. Wald?
Okay, so what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is this. They've already basically confirmed it's 25th Amendment time for Donald Trump. And the question is, when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen, MAGA? Because you don't have any of this on Joe Biden. You couldn't even impeach President Biden, even though you tried to say he was a criminal. So all of this is projection, and you're really talking about your dear leader and his cognitive issues. So where's the 25th Amendment at? All right, because Americans don't deserve this. Everyone knows Donald Trump is no longer here on Earth. He talks like he's truly in another galaxy, to be honest. Not even another planet, another galaxy. So what we're going to do is this, ladies and gentlemen. Let's warm up the lake of fire. And I know, unapologetic, she's no longer here. She's sick to her stomach. She can't believe she did this, but I'm not going to let her get away and escape judgment, and neither am I going to let any of you Trump supporters out there that continue to support this. Where is the 25th Amendment at? I want to see it now, and I want it to come from MAGA. Ladies and gentlemen, these folks know we caught them. Let's go ahead and send them once again straight to hell!
Silence, you MAGA Damon.
And that was easy. So now that we've confirmed that Donald J. Trump has cognitive decline and that the 25th Amendment that should be used to get him out of office immediately, I don't want to debate it anymore. I want to know when. Please give us an ETA, MAGA. All right, seriously. All right, now put a 1 in the chat. I'm going to go to the box. If you're a Trump supporter and you've been, you want to come up here, I guess, and talk, go ahead and put a 1 in the chat, and I'll bring you right on up here because playtime is over. And by the way, I've posted a video on my page. I did it yesterday, and it involves Senator Ted Cruz and Tucker Carlson, their interview. And I'll just say this, and I'm going to have zero tolerance for it too. What we've heard from Ted Cruz is that the Butler incident, there's way more going on than a lot of us were told. But one thing I want to make clear to everyone out there that has been accusing the Democrats of promoting all kinds of harm and violence, I want it to stop, because every scenario that you've tried to accuse us of, every time we turn around, it's you, or now we're finding out Iran is involved. And so stop it. You can't put all of this on the Democrats. You can't put any of it on the Democrats, to be honest with you. This is a bunch of lies, and it's coming from your party. And Senator Ted Cruz yesterday, I hate to call him a senator, but he totally absolved, totally exonerated the Democrats. And now you all have to go back and clean up this disgusting mess that you've been making all over the internet with your lies. Yeah, you voted for this, MAGA. Yeah, I watched that interview 10 minutes straight. Not one time did they say it was the Democrats. It was all back and forth, and we can't get them to commit to anything on this. All right, so please. And they say, well, Zeus, it's your rhetoric. This is what they say. And I say, no, it's not my rhetoric. Matter of fact, I'm starting to see, what I saw Candace Owen, she's all of a sudden starting to wake up. A lot of people are waking up because of shows like this. And so I say this, it's not really my rhetoric. It's the fact that they've listened to Zeus and they got a little Zeus in them and now they want to tell the truth. Simple as that. W Zeus. A lot of people are starting to have a little Zeus in them. All right. And that means they're starting to become free thinkers. Okay. When we're dealing with folks that are closed-minded, like Trump supporters, there's zero tolerance for the lies. And you have to understand this. Just because you're good at talking loud and embarrassing yourself, it doesn't mean you won at all. What it means is you are unable to learn. And think about this. You're going to go all the rest of your life not being able to be taught a thing. So you're just as brilliant as you were when you were 10 years old, huh? How old are you now? I'm 60 years old, Zeus. You haven't learned a thing. That is not an intelligent person. That's what I like to call an old fool. W Zeus. It's an old fool. All right. Put a 1 in the chat if you are a Trump supporter. Let's go. I saw some. I didn't get to them right away because I was in the middle of doing what I was doing. But if you want to come up here and try to defend your dear leader, please send me a guest request or place a 1 in the chat. And this is what I do every day. All right. And we can try to have an American with an American conversation. All right. And that's how I want to frame it. All right. An American with an American conversation. Let's go. Let's go. Robert, come on up here, Robert. You were the first brave one. Oh, and I got to say this. Happy Juneteenth, everyone. I forgot to say that. Happy Juneteenth. And that goes to all of you blagga out there. Robert, I sent you a guest request, Robert. All right. Or if you can't get it, Robert, hit the pink and the blue guy down below and I'll bring you right on up here. All right. And it doesn't take long, Robert, for me. Someone said, let Vargas up. Vargas, send me a guest request. I'll bring you up. All right. You seem like you're a decent, well-to-do type of person. Okay, Victor. All right, Victor. Come on up here, Victor. I got to talk to you. How can I pass that up? Good morning, Victor. How are you? Good morning, Victor.
I don't know why I didn't let me in. Oh, here I go. What's going on?
You're here. Good morning. You voted for Trump, huh?
I actually did vote for Trump on some dumb shit, right?
Oh, wait. We keep it clean now. We got to keep it clean, all right?
I did vote. I vote for Trump. I let myself be TikTok influenced, man. And I had a lot of friends that actually spoke to me about things. Me being an American born from another nationality. I'm Venezuelan in all actuality, but I was.
Oh, you're Venezuelan. Because I have a compadre here, Asler. He's Venezuelan, but he's still in the cult. So could you please speak on this? Because this is important at this point.
So right, like a lot of people, I did 22 years in federal prison, right? I used to traffic. I did a lot of shit back in the day, right?
Well, are we going to keep it clean or are we getting back to the streets?
Excuse my language. I did a lot of things back in the day and I wasn't smart enough to realize that a lot of these things were put in place so that they could socially and economically keep us as captive people under our own government, right? Mm-hmm. I let myself be misled by some of the things that this man was talking about and some of the things that were complete blatant lies, but we wanted to believe. Mm-hmm. And now what I see is all that was created was nothing but hate and prejudice between this last political election. What it did was create a plight where now it keeps the Latinos and blacks and whites completely separated from each other, even if they do now find that we have the same fight. And I think that sometimes we're unaware of these fights because we don't want to take the time to not look at other people's plight and only want to worry about our own.
Yeah.
And I think Martin Luther King said it the best, the power is within the people. And as long as the people stay strong, then we will be strong. And this is what I think we should be doing with these protests. I know some of them are turning out violent. I know some of them are being miscategorized, but I believe there's agitators being sent to these places to blow these things up. The other day, I watched the police circle in a crowd of people before the mandated curfew so they couldn't leave. And now this becomes basically the oppression that I dealt with growing up. watching how police is a police state, how police can abuse us, how police have the right to do whatever they want to do us, and our constitutional rights just get thrown out the window. Been
Let me
arrested
ask a
30
question.
times and Mirandized once.
Can I ask you a question though? How did you go about getting the ability to vote though? That's kind of been on my mind as you, because you know, I
all
like.
right, cool. So you see, a lot of people have the common misconception that they think that people go to jail, they lose their right to vote. They only lose their right to vote while they're on any kind of paper. If you're on parole or probation or anything, you do not have the right to vote. Once you become a free citizen, you do have the right to vote. Another right that is being given back to us constitutionally is the right to bear arms. After 10 years of being out, not being incarcerated, away from that lifestyle, you are able to now ask for a certificate of relief and go ahead and start getting your right to bear arms.
So it sounds like to me you're going down the path of rehabilitation, and you're starting to understand a little bit about how society works, and you're now a champion for truth and freedom and stuff like that, as opposed to just being you know, what I call a cog on the wheel, right? Somebody that just grovels and worships Donald Trump, right?
No, that's a fact. Like, so, you know, once you listen, it said a long time ago, as a kid, you do childish things. So once your eyes be open to things, you can't, if you decide to put a veil over your eyes after your eyes are open to something, then you're ignorant. And ignorance is something I cannot be a part of.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, listen, because what I want to do is I'm trying to help folks do what you're doing, right? Get out of this cult. So if you don't mind, I have a friend and his name is Asler. He's from Venezuela and he's black, right? But you could tell as soon as he opens his mouth, he could be trouble, if you know what I mean, right?
Okay.
And what we're doing is I'm seeing him go all over TikTok promoting Donald Trump. And he doesn't have any cares in the world because he thinks Donald Trump, even though he came into this country, he immigrated, right? And he's from Venezuela. He doesn't see what you see. So if you could give him a few words of encouragement real quickly, because then I'm going to move on to someone else. But if I want you to speak to him where he's at, brother.
But honestly, what I think it is everybody just trying to use the hype to gauge some type of following off what they're doing, right? I wanted to open up a page in 2021 called Vixpirational, right? Because I now advocate against those going to prison as a juvenile, because I was sentenced as a juvenile.
Got it.
So, you know, now I try to advocate against these things, right? But with all the hate that I seen online, like I barely like coming up here and having these discussions because there's so many people will try to twist your words just to create or incite a feeling in someone else. And I believe that has to do with your own demons, man. People need to look inside themselves and be happy with themselves so that they can be happy with others and love others. We are all of one people, right? We are all one nation. There's no such thing as white and blacks and browns and none of that. This was only made in the 1600s because in Europe they didn't go by that.
Got you. Now, but brother, please,
keep
bro,
up the good fight, and I appreciate you for bringing me up here.
You're welcome.
Asler, listen, you need to be more aware of the policies that this man is putting in place instead of just being hyped on what you see on the television and go read up some of the policies, because 90% of the policies that he put into play that everybody's sitting there and going, oh my God, look at what he did so good, were policies from Democratic presidents past. So let's go follow those. The same way that everybody wanted to talk about the pandemic when they gave out the stimulus checks and everybody got unemployment. Well, that's a law from 1934 that once the population reached 10% of unemployment, that everyone had to get benefits to avoid another Great Depression. But people hit them with it, Victor. Listen, thank you for the time. I appreciate you, man. Keep up the good fight. And please, let's remove this man out of office before he turns us all against each other.
Amen. W. Victor. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Come on back. All right. See, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we're talking about. We spread love, not hate on this platform. W. Zeus, too. So, And that was very, and to me, that's very, very important. The way he wrapped that up. Yeah, if Donald Trump continues to do what he's doing, yes, we're going to be at each other's, throats, so to speak, because a lot of us are not going to sit back here and just let Donald J. Trump, take over this great country of ours and ruin all of the decades, all the centuries of progress that we've made thus far. All right. And so let's go back to the audience. Are there any Trump supporters out there? Please identify yourselves. Please put a 1 in the chat. And what we'll do is we'll try to bring you up and see how American you are. Good morning, Jim. Nice to see you. Long time no see. Any Trump supporters out there? Let's see real quickly. They don't want to come up here. All right, let's see. Oh, I see right now what's going on right now. They know there's no way to defend this situation that they've gotten themselves in, right? Your dear leader is planting flagpoles instead of, bringing down our gas prices. And by the way, MAGA, I noticed MAGA has been very, very quiet as these gas prices, they start to creep on up, because guess what? We have wars breaking out under his watch, the ones that he said it wouldn't happen. Yeah. Okay, Bigfoot, you're a Trump supporter. Come on up here, Bigfoot, if you don't mind. Come on up here, Bigfoot. I sent you an invite. It doesn't take long. Just hit accept. $3.29. That, good Lord, that's a lot of money. That's a long way from what he said it was, $1.98. There we go. We got Bigfoot. All right. Good morning, Bigfoot. I'm surprised you got that truck in your profile, considering the price of gas. What is that? A 95 Ford Bronco or something? What is that? Ford Ranger truck?
Hey, can you hear me, Zeus?
I sure can. You voted for Trump?
I did not. You called me up. I put 1s in my profile. I've been listening to you for a long time now.
Oh, well, then I shouldn't have, did that subtle jab at you. All right. That was a joke for you if you were MAGA. That's an awesome truck. You see, I can do that.
I lucked out. I grabbed that Bigfoot title a long time ago, and someone said, "Hey, put that truck up there." So it's it might be a little bit of a mask, but
it's a mask. Okay, well, it looks good. I'll be honest with you. But if you were a Trump supporter, I'd hate that truck. All right. So I appreciate you not using the truck and using it to do what a lot of these other Trump supporters do. Because they use it to try to get dates and stuff like that on TikTok. Because they think a big truck means something else is big. You know what I'm trying to say? It's making up for things that are not that big. So I appreciate that. All right, Bigfoot.
You're right. I don't need to compensate, my friend. So
thank you, ladies and gentlemen. W Bigfoot. Well, is there anything you would like to say real quickly before we move on to the next guest? Because you know what I do. All right.
I do.
Yeah.
I appreciate your guests, and I appreciate you pushing back on these voices that are out there. I've done a lot of traveling around the country, and I'm retired now, so I plug into your play here and try to get a little Zeus on. It helps me cope.
Thank you. Well, thank you. That's positive, because what I do is I try to bring positive energy out here, because I know a lot of this stuff is very dark and dangerous, and there's people going through it real bad. But I think it's also very, very important to show that there's some of us in the country that are saying under no circumstances will we just sit back and watch Donald Trump destroy this progress we've made. It's not a perfect union, right?
No, but it is a union, and people seem to forget that. I used to be a union president, and it's hard to get people to come together. It's really hard. So
yeah. And but what we're doing is very important, because one thing I learned growing up is sometimes you got to get in trouble to become a better person, and you got to do the work on yourself after that, right? And so what we're hoping and doing is making sure folks get in trouble, number one, because that's why I sent them straight to hell. But then I do hope that they genuinely do the work to become better people and not fall for this again, because we don't need to do this. All right.
I appreciate you keeping me warm in Michigan here. I fire up that furnace once in a while, so we need some help in Michigan. Michigan used to be a working folk state, and people are fighting themselves to be relevant, I guess, and sometimes it doesn't work out.
Wow. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to take what you said and we're going to, use it to actually get it back on track. All right, Bigfoot?
Yep.
Fair enough. All right, ladies and gentlemen, W Bigfoot. We're going to move it along to our next panelist. All righty then. All right. Do we have any other Trump supporters out there that are brave enough to get in the box and come on up here real quickly? It's Juneteenth. I know a lot of you got other things. No, you're not doing anything. Why is MAGA so scared right now? All right, you see, I see what's going on. So what we'll do is we'll give MAGA what they came and they're begging me for. It's the same. Billy Buckeye, zip it. Good morning, Nutty. How are you?
A grand rising, sir. How are you?
I'm all right. Just another day in the kingdom, and it's clear we got these folks shook. They're shook. They don't know what to do.
Before I get started, I'm gonna pull a Donald Trump.
Mm.
I'm gonna pull a Donald Trump. I want to say Happy Juneteenth out there, including to the nasty, disgusting blagas. You guys are
hold those L's.
I'm including you nasty behinds, you coon nations. So happy Juneteenth. Now I wish you all would go sit down in the corner, pick up a book, read a book on history. There you go. That's it. So
can they read though? I don't know if these people can read.
Well, you know what? I hear.
Is there a place they can go on the internet and get a audio version of perhaps or something? Is there something you think we should do?
So Zeus, was it 2-3 years ago now when I offered to pay for people to go to Russia?
Yeah, I do.
So I want to bring that back, but in a different light.
Okay, let's hit it.
I will absolutely pay for a 1-year subscription to Hooked on Phonics. It worked for other people, so it can work for you too, Blaga.
So, any volunteers? I know Red Lady Red could use some Hooked on Phonics because that's the only thing she can get hooked on around here. Not on Zeus, but yeah, please continue.
Well, she is hooked on you, Zeus.
Yeah, I know, but she better be getting hooked on phonics.
Listen, you consistently tell her that you're the most handsome, that you're the most honest,
yeah,
that you're the most.
Well, no, I don't tell her specifically.
You keep telling her that, and now she believes you, and so now she's hooked.
Nah. She, like I said, Hooked on Phonics is about all she can get over here. Because other than that, there's really nothing ever going to happen. Because could you imagine the dynamics in a relationship like that? Well, I'm like, listen, could you just be nice? She wouldn't be able to do it. She wouldn't be able to zip it and just stop us from getting. I mean, and you know what I think is when you get pulled over. I know if I were in the car with Red Lady Red, bro. You know it too, huh? W Zeus, W Nutty even laughed. He said that's dangerous. No one wants to be in that situation.
Yeah, no. But yeah,
she could get hooked on phonics though. That's good.
Just like the plane tickets to Russia. I'm putting the offer out there. See, this just transpired on your live, Zeus.
Yeah,
I'm putting the offer out there. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to trust me. We can go through a third-party mediator. I will send the money. I will do the subscription. We can do it through Zeus. We can do it through whomever you choose.
Any blagger out there? I know Gregory Jones is out there because he thinks he knows something. Gregory Jones doesn't know a thing. Gregory, we got you, bro. But you're going to have to learn how to read. And we'll make sure you know how to read, all right? After we give you the subscription, you're going to have to take a test with us.
But Zeus, there are
maybe a math book too.
A couple special people that I like to give 2-year subscriptions to.
Okay. That's what I call giving back, Nutty. This is what I call giving back to the community. It really is.
We can't leave.
I'll do it too, Nutty. Now that you say, if we could save some blagger folks from doing more damage to the community, because honestly, Nutty, is it worse what they're doing, or would you rather, if let's just think about the things that are going on in our community, right? You got people standing on the corner selling it and pushing it, or then you have what these blagger are doing. Which one's worse?
I don't know. They're all worse. They're all bad. I mean, like seriously. But I was going to tell you, Kenneth, I want to give 2-year subscription to Kenneth.
Okay.
And I want to give a 2-year subscription to he said he was joking, but our Waffle House guru.
Gucci.
So whoever
what was his name? The Waffle House guy. Bretta, I remember. Yeah.
Brett, yes. He said he was joking, but yet, okay. And hey, let me get it straight. Ain't nothing wrong with working at Waffle House. It's honest work.
Yeah.
You're not out committing, well, you could be, but you're not out committing crimes in that moment.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with Waffle House workers.
Yeah.
Because I hear that Waffle House is the best place to go after you leave the bar. So there's that. But anyway, so
W. Joy, thank you.
I just very quickly, I wanted to. You spoke on the 25th Amendment.
Yeah.
You spoke on cognitive decline.
Sure did.
I saw how when you were doing your monologue, I saw how the chat was triggered because you were talking about cognitive decline.
Yeah.
I just want to talk to those people who were triggered by what you were saying.
Yeah.
You all wrote this book. Now you're pissed off that we are reading from it.
Yeah.
Don't be pissed off at us reading from a book that you authored. Because I remember when you talked about Joe Biden.
Yep.
I remember when you called him woke. You called him sleepy, which is a misnomer because I don't know how you can be woke and asleep at the same time. I remember when you talked about his cognitive ability because he tripped over a stair. You didn't say it was because of old age. Had you said it was because of old age, we all could have said, you know what, you're right. Age has a way of catching up to people.
Yep.
However, you decided to be the doctor in the room. And you decided to say that he's not fit. So what say you now, MAGA, that we are reading every chapter from your book and we're just telling you what you've already written?
Let me ask you a question, Nutty.
It's quiet in the room.
You seen this photo of his hand?
What? Hey, listen, I haven't had breakfast yet.
What do you think of that? Does that look like somebody has some cognitive issues up there they need to deal with?
Well, Zeus, I mean, you keep playing it every single day. You play his words, and they're getting pissed off. But how can you get pissed off when you are playing his words? We're not saying these things. You're playing the words that are coming out of his butt. That happens to be his mouth.
Yeah.
You're playing his words. These words are not being made up. They're not being altered. These are his words. And then if you really want to know where we are as a nation, it's crazy. I never thought that you have to go to a social media platform to get what's really on a sitting president's mind, because he's up all times a night, I guess, lying on truth. I even hate calling it Truth Social.
Yeah, Lie Central. I call it Lie Central.
That's a great one. So I'm like, we are in the freaking Twilight Zone. We are beyond the Twilight Zone. Like, I'm just confused.
Well,
I want to talk to MAGA, so I'm gonna get out of here so you can bring them up.
Fair enough.
I know you keep inviting them. You keep inviting them, but I don't see a lot of them, lining up.
Because if you think about it right now, there's infighting going on right now. Imagine being a Trump supporter right now. You're fighting amongst yourself. Then you got to fight the Democrats. They know the end is near. They know the walls are closing in. And all they're doing is saying to themselves, how did it happen so fast when the Democrats aren't in control? That's what this is where they're at right now, Nutty. I promise you. They know the highest point they had was after the election. Ever since then, it's been downhill. And it'll never, ever get back into the sky. It'll never go up.
And Zeus, this is where you and I differ. This is where you and I differ, because you have, I used to be like you. But you've taken an approach to where you actually want to talk to people who voted for Trump. You actually want to see who you can speak to get them out of the cultish behavior.
He's right.
You actually want to see if there's one that can be saved.
Just one.
See, I'm beyond that point.
What are you thinking?
I'm beyond that point. I'm absolutely, as Kenneth, because Kenneth said he's the self-proclaimed founder of Blaga. I want to be the self-proclaimed founder of extreme FAFO. Because every time I know you're live, we say these euphemisms that we heard growing up from our parents, from our grandparents, because these people were told what would happen, what was going to happen. We were told by his own account what he wanted to do. He said he wanted to be a dictator on day one, but their hard heads is now making for a soft behind.
Bingo.
Because they didn't want to listen. They didn't want to listen to the words that were coming out of his mouth. They wanted to say, well, he didn't mean it that way, as if they knew what he meant.
Like MAGA translators. That's what they think they are. They think they're translators.
Said what he meant. How is it that you're going to say, oh, he didn't mean it that way? So Vic, or whatever your name was, you sounded like a reformed person, and I champion that. I champion anyone who can spend 22 years in prison. I champion changing your life.
Yeah.
But I can't champion you voting for Donald Trump, because you may have been hoodwinked, bamboozled by the people on social media, but you have a responsibility for yourself to think for yourself and to educate yourself. So I don't give you a pass, because now you want to get on this live and talk about what we should be doing. Because what we should have been doing was educating yourselves before you walked into that poll and checked that box for Donald J. Trump, or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
That's what you should have been doing. You should have been doing your own research, because your vote, sir, got us into this mess that we're in today. And unlike Zeus, I don't forgive it. And yes, I am still a Christian, but don't trip. He ain't through with me yet.
Amen. Amen. W Nutty. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, it's been quite the show. One thing I want to do is this. I want to address this thing that just was brought to my attention. I should have did it in the morning, but it has to do with ICE. Yeah. This is disturbing, ladies and gentlemen, and I totally understand why MAGA right now they're on their heels right now. They've basically pretty much, we've made them surrender. W to all of you in the chat. We've made MAGA surrender on TikTok. This is incredible. But I want to speak on this issue because I have these MAGA demons. I call them the Russian bears. One of them in particular, and she knows who she is. There's a situation that's happening with ICE, and how I protect women and children, and she would do nasty things to try to prove to me she really does care about women and children. But I want to get this story on the record and ask, where is MAGA at now? All right, so this is ICE agents abduct 4, trigger warning by the way, they abduct 4 women, SA them, tortured them, unalive them. All right, this is what an ICE agent did. All right. Hold on. Give it a second. It got to warm up. Sheesh. Okay, here we go.
Texas. We do consider this to be a terrifying arrest in Texas. We do consider this to be a serial killer. It meets the qualifications or definition of being a serial killer. Authorities say Juan David Ortiz, a U.S. Border Patrol agent, is allegedly a calculated murder.
So the Border Patrol agent, I said ICE, all right, Border Patrol.
A serial killer. Authorities say Juan David Ortiz, a U.S. Border Patrol agent, is allegedly a calculated murderer, killing 4 women, all believed to be sex workers, according to the district attorney, over the past 2 weeks. Investigators seen here combing the scene where they found one victim's body. According to police, Ortiz attempted to abduct a 5th woman Saturday night, but she managed to get away.
Apparently the suspect pulled out a gun on her and she was able to escape.
That woman found an officer and directed police to Ortiz. He was later arrested hiding in a hotel parking garage. He now faces 4 murder charges and is being held on a $2.5 million bond.
You hear that? You hear that? Now, ladies and gentlemen, when you hear stories like that, and you see videos of men and women wearing masks and they're going after people they claim are illegally in the country, and then you know that some of the people doing that work are stone cold unalivers, sickest people on earth. The question I have to the Russian bears, where's your humanity? Where is all that Jesus, I love God, I love the children, I love protecting women stuff? Where are the men that on the right that love to say they protect their women? Here we go again. Once again, God has exposed what's really in your heart. Pure evil. That's why I say MAGA, satanic word. It's some real satanic evil wickedness. And it's God's judgment upon the nation, because these people, they continue to worship the devil. And then they say, oh no, I'm not worshiping the devil. I'm worshiping God. No, you're not. And so what I'll do is this, ladies and gentlemen, we got to warm up the lake of fire once again. I know the Russian bears, they won't condemn this. They'll sit there and embrace it, and then they'll start trying to bring up Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, Joe Biden. They'll do all that stuff instead of looking at this situation and doing what the good Lord told them to do. So guess what? Do me a favor, you Russian bears, and you can put this on your profile, all right, because you screen record me. Go straight to hell!
Silence, you MAGA demon!
W Zeus. If you're going to do the screen recording, at least do the whole thing so you'll put on your profile that I sent you straight to hell, all right? Because that's where every single one of you so-called Christians will be, I promise you. I promise you. All right, let's go back to the audience. Do we have anyone else that's willing to come up here? Anyone brave enough to get in the box and tell the truth? All right, let's see. Oh, Dr. Keisha, now I see you. I'll get you next. Good morning, Attacking. How you doing, brother? Once again, we're back.
I'm doing fine. And it's funny how you just did that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I wasn't going to say anything, but now I will.
I knew that. That's why I did that.
So I received audio of a certain group of people that there was a young man in there, and he sounded like he was part of the LGBTQ community.
Okay.
And he kept on saying no, that he's not. And you know how we do question people who say they support Trump and what he's done with the LGBTQ community, and they don't.
Correct.
Right? So we kind of question that.
Right.
They teased him. They mocked him. They made essay overtones and stuff like that to him. And he kept on saying, I'm not, I'm not, I'm not. The entire group, the entire panel, all
these are Christians, and they call themselves Christians.
These are Christians, and these are Christians. And they kept on for about, I think my video, the audio that was sent, was a good 15, 20, 30 minutes long. Kept on teasing him. And there was one guy, he was Hindu or something like that, and he was going, I have my gay radar, and I know you are, blah, 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 blah. You may not know it, but I know you are, because of the way he talked. And they kept teasing him. I wanted to bring this picture up. Look at this. Yesterday when Trump put up the flagpole.
Yeah. Who is that?
That's a crane worker. I got this off of Political Mom's page. She posted a video as Trump is standing next to the crane. He's got one of the workers there, and that guy's
sleeping.
He's just sleeping, right?
Best and brightest. Wow.
Oh my God! And then this. Hold on.
This is sad.
They are not happy standing behind Trump, listening to him talk. Trump had the workers behind him yesterday for a good 15, 20 minutes as he rattled on. And the guy in the back, his expressions throughout his entire conversation Trump was having was like, What the heck am I doing here? I'd rather be doing my gosh darn job.
Wow.
It's like, and all the people, you could tell by their expressions, they weren't happy.
This is sick.
Especially that guy in the front.
Yeah.
You know how you can have eye contact with your friend and not say a word, but your eyes say, what the heck? Yeah, that's what they were doing. That's what they were doing.
Wow.
And now while you're talking to everybody, I'm listening to the news.
Yeah.
They're wondering why Trump's not listening to Tulsi Gabbard in regards to Iran with the nukes.
Why isn't he? Because he picked her.
Because Trump knows everything more so than anybody else.
Mm.
Trump is always right. Trump isn't wrong. He doesn't need anybody. Why doesn't he just, if they're worried about waste, fraud, and abuse, just fire everybody because you're the only one who counts. Your words are the only ones who count.
Yeah.
And then I have one more question for the audience. Shouldn't Donald Trump know what's in the executive order before signing the executive order?
I would have to say, yeah. Because if he doesn't, then we're thinking about things like the auto pin, right?
Yeah. So why doesn't he explain it when he's signing it? Why does he have the people there explain it? Can you tell us what he literally says? Can you tell us what's in it? I mean, his own mouth. Tell us what's in it. I mean, if
This
you
is embarrassing.
what are you signing for? It's kind of like some of the Republicans have come out.
They say he can't read attacking. They say he can't read. I'm reading the chat. They say he can't read. Maybe that's what this is about. Which then proves he's incompetent.
His sister says that he can't read well. His niece has said that. Mary Trump has said that.
Yeah.
And his first presidency, his staffer says he doesn't like to read. Right? So it's already out there. And the thing is, waste, fraud, and abuse. Just fire everybody. Trump's the only one who's right. And well, I was going to say one other thing.
Yeah.
In regards to this,
good morning.
He's getting us into war, and you guys don't care. You guys don't care. You say he's keeping us out of war. He sides with Putin. He's ignoring Ukraine again, and he's siding with using a nuke with Iran. That property is not going to be able to be used for the next 50 years. So why use it?
Why do you think they're okay with him going to war on all of a sudden? Because this is the same person that said we looked weak when Biden was in office, and Biden was only providing Ukraine with support to defend themselves. And he didn't get our troops into war or, get us subjected to that. But now Trump gets his supporters believing going to war was always the plan.
Because Trump can do no wrong, according to them.
Sick.
Assaulting women and children? Nope, not him. Cheating, making money from the White House as a president? Nope, not him. Joe Biden. The children making money off the presidency was Hunter, not the other kids.
Oh,
and
wow.
right now, Trump is literally selling more stuff from the White House than any other president to put money in their pocket, and you guys just don't care. You don't. He's selling you America. You have to. And the thing is, now with the new Trump telephone, made in China.
The phones are made in China.
So
the phones are made in China attacking?
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to get that on the record. And so now we understand, if we see a Trump supporter on TikTok, they're already defeated because TikTok is a Chinese app. And now the phones they're using, if they get it from Trump, those phones came from China. How do you call that being tough on China?
You don't. And that's the thing. And also the thing is that when you say Joe Biden, again, can't read off a teleprompter, we have all the video with Trump. Can't walk upstairs, trips. You see now, Trump falls, he trips. Even though this was in 2017, walks past a big beast, goes to the right, and has to have Secret Service point. No, the car's over there, sir. All these things that you blame Joe Biden about, it's all Trump. Talking about boats, batteries, and sharks, whales being unalive by windmills. All these things that you say Joe Biden's done when it all relates back to Trump, the hypocrisy is overwhelming.
Yeah.
And the thing is this, you approve of Donald Trump destroying America. You just don't like Joe Biden destroying America. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
You keep saying, And then, by the way, Mr. Global, our gas guy, our oil
Yeah.
and gas guy,
Yeah.
this new bill that's coming out with the no tax cuts on overtime and stuff like that.
Right.
You're not getting it weekly. You're getting it at the end of the year when you file your taxes. And if 20% of your taxes, something like 20% of your taxes of your income, you don't get the tax cut.
Wow. So it's no real relief at the end of the day. And as far as I'm concerned, he's just dangling carrots in front of his supporters in order to take advantage of them like he always does. He's never going to deliver on any of his promises.
Yep.
So there you have it.
Each and every time. And by the way, I said thank you to Straight Facts this morning in regards to her pulling up
Good. Good. That's a good thing to do. Continue to go around and spread the truth. All right, brother?
All right, guys. I'm going to drop. Be good. Be safe.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. W attacking. No lies detected. You said the carrots have stopped dangling. Okay, yeah, he's never going to deliver. MAGA knows it, and look at what's going on in our country. If you start thinking about all the things that the Book of Revelations talked about, because a lot of them read the Bible, you would have to understand that there's just too many things going on in this country. It's no longer a coincidence. No, this is actually the result of sheer, and I do mean this, sheer incompetence. People all over the world, ladies and gentlemen, especially here in this country, they know what's happening. I've never seen, so many folks that are just struggling to get some of the things that they were so easy to get, but now you can't get it. All right. And so what we'll do is we'll bring up our good friend, Dr. Keisha Davis. All right, let's go. Who does a lot of work in the medical field. How are you doing, Doc? How are you? All right, gentlemen, keep it calm down there, because you have some men out there that don't know how to control themselves when you get in the box. But I'm telling them to control themselves. All right, you're doing good. I see.
Can't complain. I was on vacation last week. I went to Aruba, and I was like, I want to come back to America. It was so nice.
Yeah, wow. Well, welcome back. It's so nice that you were able to go and come back. It looks like, the vacation did you some well, all right? You got nice. I mean, look at that. The sun must have hit you just right out there.
The sun hit me. We went to Chocolate City. For you guys that go there, make sure you go down south to the original part of Aruba, where there's a beautiful melanin population of people, and find out that history. It's beautiful. But listen, there's an elephant in the room, because today is a day I shouldn't even be working. It's Juneteenth.
Amen.
Speak on it, y'all. It is Juneteenth. We need to be talking about that. All this other stuff is great, but this is an important day, especially as a Texan, that we need to be talking about it, because even though, quote, we were freed, equality and equity in healthcare is not there. It is crazy. The other day, Tennessee, what happened? Tennessee now is officially banned transgender youth affirming care, not just surgery, care, completely. Hopefully we can fight that. Yeah, completely sick. In addition to that, women that look like me, even me, are more likely to unalive in childbirth. We still don't have the same access to cancer care, to sickle cell treatment. We're not believed when we go in there in a sickle cell crisis and pain. And yet we're here still talking about everything else, because my people built this country in addition to the natives. And today is such a special day. They're trying to diminish it. I know that. I don't know if it's still going to be a national holiday next year. I don't know, but I'm still going to talk about it. And
but
then,
don't you think? Oh, go for it. I didn't want to cut you off.
ahead.
No, because you brought it up. But to me, it's a slap in the face, because you see black folks out here voting for Donald Trump, and they don't even appreciate what we have with this holiday. What do you have to say about that, if you don't mind?
They probably wish the holiday didn't exist. I don't know. Maybe they wish they were still enslaved. I'm not sure.
Ooh.
I am honestly
That's
sure.
a good angle. I didn't think about that, but you know what? Maybe we should allow for them to do that. Then maybe we should make it a constitution. If you want to be a slave still, then go ahead and sign this document and go on to whatever plantation you want to be on. All right. That maybe we should make that into law. That's a good point.
That's a very good point. Listen, something else that's going on while we get muzzled in the FDA. I don't know who's in the FDA right now. It's a shell of what it used to be. But what is working is recalls. And there were some people that just unalived For y'all that eat chicken or eat this, I don't know. Y'all go to Walmart. I don't go to Walmart.
Well, I don't go to Walmart, but you did say that the chicken thing. Is there something you would like to say about the chicken thing? Because that's hitting close to home now, Doc.
Okay, listen, salmonella and also we're having listeria. These pre-made packages at Walmart, chicken Alfredo, it's called Fresh Roams. I hope y'all haven't eaten it. But unfortunately, there's been 3 deaths from 3 unalivements.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah. Just recently. One of them was
they trying to take us out with the chicken. That's a trap. It's
not the man. This is just when you don't have good food practices. That's all that.
Okay. Because I was thinking conspiracy wise, right? I'm like, wow, you going after the one thing that's very hard for a lot of people to give up. All right,
Candy, and then we have Bacillus cereus and the cough. Little Remedies. I actually use that for my daughter. So Little Remedies has some Bacillus cereus and some of their cough syrup that was recalled.
Bacilla what?
It's a bacteria. Bacillus.
Okay. Because you say that, I'm like, is this a virus? This is a bacteria. I mean, how do you deal with this? I mean, because I'm just trying to eat the chicken. That's kind of where I'm at still.
Okay, listen, you can still eat the chicken, but why don't you go to some halal place and get healthy chicken or eat fake chicken? There's fake chicken.
Well, I don't like to know that the chicken is fake, all right, but okay.
There's plant-based chicken. I just had some the other day. They weren't good. Some are good, some are not good. So you got to get the right brand. But it's not that great.
Got it. All right. I mean, that might be worth looking into, but fake chicken.
Somebody said no.
You'd have to trick me into doing that. I put it that way. You got to do it, and then I would have to go. Oh, this is fake chicken. Okay, it tastes like real chicken. But I wouldn't just go out and buy it.
These recalls should scare you. And then don't forget avian flu.
Oh, didn't Trump say he had that under control and they got folks out there with the giving the chickens?
You know how it's under control?
How?
They got rid of testing.
What? They get rid of that. That doesn't mean you fix the problem.
No longer required no, it means you know that one child just like my grade doesn't exist. They just hide their grades, which he probably did. That's what they did.
Till I got caught, but then you realize you can't hide things like that because symptoms, things start to show up when you think you got away with it. So this is sad. This is sad because you would think that he cared about at least his supporters and he would do things to make sure his supporters, his base would still be able to support him. But it sounds like he doesn't even care about them.
It doesn't. I mean, the people that have these farms of these chickens, they're still going to unalive because they're still getting it. I mean, it's a global issue with the bird flu. So for y'all that are sleeping on it, it's still there. The places that are testing, it's still in our food products. Veterinarians are concerned that have to go out here and test it. You should be concerned if you're eating raw milk, consuming raw milk or eggs. So
wow.
If you're not doing, if it was going like this, right? The cases, and then people unalive, and then all of a sudden it goes like this. And you get rid of FDA testing, and you get rid of the people in FDA, and you get rid of people that do it. Then what happened to the cases? You think they just went away?
No, not me. Because
got rid of there was immunizations that were helping with the animals. They're not going to do that.
Wow. See, I wouldn't think because I think about data and how it's collected. I would be very concerned if all of a sudden the data started behaving in a way that wasn't consistent, right, with how it normally behaves. That's what I would think, especially if I don't know what caused that change. So that's pretty alarming.
Test for COVID, do you still have C-19?
Is C-19 still around? Yeah.
Actually, there's a new variant, and people are laughing because they call it razor sharp throat or razor burn. I don't know what it is.
Really?
Extremely painful sore throat, sore throat. Yeah.
Wow. This is sick. And so their solution to this is just don't even test it anymore because, COVID, C-19, whatever, they say, oh, well, that was just a little thing came from China. They used that to engineer a way to get Trump out of office. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're just not going to test it anymore because your immune system can handle it. Is that kind of the direction they're going?
That's the direction. And they've just completely stepped on all the people with long COVID.
Wow.
And we still have unalivements weekly from it too. So I don't know. The new variant is going to cause a summer surge. and we've already seen more hospitalizations. So, it is what it is. But
And what's the name of this new variant? One more time, Razor's Edge.
It's
Oh.
no. The razor throat is the signs that they're saying with it. That's the new symptom. This is just the clickbait thing that people use on news and stuff.
Yeah. Wow.
But I have a favor. Can y'all please
Okay.
do this? Okay, so I was traveling back home. I had a great flight. And then I'm heading here, and this guy gets on the plane next to me. And I try to sit towards the front of the plane, and he starts hacking. He don't even, first of all, what happened to manners? He didn't cover his throat. So I had my mask, and he was looking at me like, sorry. I'm like, dude, why are we coughing into the air? Now it's become politicized. I'm serious, because I'm in a border town right now. I'm in Brownsville.
Oh my Lord, stay safe,
And
please.
they feel entitled. Now it's entitled not to wear a mask. Now it's entitled, I'm going to cough in your face without covering.
Isn't that a crime? That's a crime, isn't it? Can't you get arrested for doing that?
It should be a crime. It should be a crime. Listen, infectious organisms are bioterrorism, is bioterrorism at its
Thank you.
finest. And what can unalive more people is infectious disease, whether it's intentional or non-intentional. It's the same thing. If you know you have something, you're going to walk out or you're going to hack in someone's throat. I'm going to tell you, I'm wearing my mask on the plane because these people.
There's some
And then
sick.
I saw someone leave the bathroom and they didn't wash their hands. I saw the two at the airport. I'm like, what? Y'all just got straight rogue.
Commando with it,
You guys
nasty.
Don't shake hands with people because some of these people are not washing their hands. I'm just telling you the truth.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Doc, because we need to know that. And that's some sick stuff. But, and I say this, if you don't even wash your hands, they don't wash their brains, all right? And so this is what we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with, a bunch of dirty demons. This is crazy.
It really is.
They just love filth. They love being sick. How do y'all think like that? That's disgusting.
And then they love RFK Jr., who just dismantled the entire vaccine trial committee and replaced them with, illiterates, dysfunctional people that have no qualifications. I mean, you guys should be very, very careful. All of you all here have the benefit of immunizations during childhood. And now that whole committee has been dismantled. Everybody needs to go make sure you're going locally and complaining about this.
Thank
Because
you.
We need to get him out. Please, please. In the midst of everything else, we need to get him out.
Thank you. I agree. We need the whole administration, honestly, to be impeached. And starting with Trump, obviously, because I don't even trust the people that would probably be able to replace him. And in fact, you get rid of Trump. Who do you get? Vance? No, gotta go. And just keep going down the list. Impeach the entire administration. Is there something? Maybe we should have Congress do it. There needs to be an article in the Constitution where you could impeach the entire administration. Because at this point, the jig's up. I mean, I don't see how these people are helping America stay safe or healthy. Is RFK really making America healthy again? Because, he's taking the dyes out of ketchup, right? And stuff like that. Is that really helping?
If you have a child that has multiple issues, and one of them is picking their nose, one of them is they have a heart condition, one of them is they can't walk, and then you're going to work on picking their nose. That's exactly, I'm going to be honest, that's what you're doing.
Yes.
Of course, the dyes are an issue, you all, but why are you guys consuming all these processed foods to begin with? You have a garden. You have. There's a section called the perimeter of the grocery store. That's where you should be getting most of your foods, not in the middle.
It's called what? The good perimeter?
My husband he uses so many seasonings. It's just ridiculous. So you can go to the middle for the seasonings. The perimeter.
The perimeter of the store, you're saying, is usually the safest zone to get. Oh,
supposed to
I didn't know that. All right, Dr. Keisha Davis. See, I didn't know that. What I do is I go in and I say, this is what I need, and then I try to leave because I think it's all about them trying to send me down a maze of, things they're trying to take my money. But now that I know that,
you're good at that. Men, some of you men are good at that unless you're a cook. My husband's a cook, so he'll be at the grocery store for like 3 hours. Like I can't even go with him. I have to sit down, find wine.
Yeah.
They call the little stations and.
Yeah. Wow. Well, it's good to know those things. And so, but it sounds like your husband, he's really about getting the best quality ingredients, so to speak, so that, when you're home and cook, it's the best.
That food tastes good, Zeus.
Yeah. Well, listen, I appreciate
diseases.
Yes. Now, any last things? Because Big Zeus has to. We're gonna move
No,
on,
no,
but if
nothing last. Nope. I don't think there's
okay,
anything else. Everything else we can talk about it some other time. But thank you
you're
for having
still
me on.
doing your lives.
Happy
You're back to do
Juneteenth.
your lives, right?
I'm doing one tonight because it's Juneteenth and I need to talk about equal care for all of us. So y'all joined in this evening. But besides that, the podcast, we revamped it. It's doing very well. So check it out.
Awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, show Dr. Keisha some love. No lies detected. All right, well, we're going to move it along. All right, ladies and gentlemen, look at that. You can see that. All right. All right, let's continue on. So Dr. Keisha, she just updated our software, so to speak, with our health. It's very, very important you listen to her and go ahead and follow her, all right, because you can learn a lot, especially in that area. But we're going to continue to move on. Do we have any Trump supporters out there? Please put a 1 in the chat, and what I'll do is we'll bring you right on up here. Put a 1 in the chat or send me a guest request, all right? All right. Thank you so much for the gift. Seriously, you all are so kind. Conservative Democrat, he flat out says no. He doesn't want to come up here and actually show the world who he really is, and I get that. All right, and I totally understand why Trump supporters right now, they're struggling right now to at least try to find something to brag about. All right. So let's see. Let's go back into the let's see. Who do we have here, ladies and gentlemen? All right. Oh, look at this. SZ, good morning. How are you doing? Welcome. Oh, Maga Demon is here. It's so funny, Maga Demon. You listen to me every morning, but you don't learn anything. SZ, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Just another day in the kingdom, tending to the affairs as usual.
Oh, that's great. Have you noticed that it's been very quiet? Very quiet. No news about the whole, or should I say, no MAGA screaming about what happened in Minnesota last Saturday?
Oh, you know what? You're right. That is interesting. I mean, initially they were going around saying it was the Democrats, right? They were very vocal about
Yes,
it being
they
the
were saying it was
Democrats.
the Democrat. Oh, and mind you, I'm off today for today
Because
of
it's a federal holiday.
Juneteenth,
Yeah.
and I am usually off Friday and Saturday. Yes, and for those, educate yourself on this holiday. Do some education. But going back to Saturday, I was in my part-time and I heard the news and I was like, hold on, I'm not going to rush and point fingers because that's not how I am. So I was just at my part-time going through some sources and I'm like, okay. This is being reported. But as I'm doing that, I'm going on TikTok and right off the bat, MAGA already assuming it's a Democrat with only headline lines. And mind you, I was like, no, this can't be true. This can't be true.
Because they said he had the No Kings flyers in the cars.
Oh, that was a ruse. That was like trying to mislead people, trying to put clues though that way we could grasp them and say, oh, look. No, as we read and as reading, do your reading. Again, reading is fundamental. You get the facts.
Yeah.
And he is a Republican, Christian nationalist. Wow. And I don't know if you recall, but did you see that Ring doorbell camera?
I did not see
that they put out.
The one with him wearing the mask?
He was wearing a mask. Yes, he was wearing a mask, trying to elude people. So MAGA, who's the violent people? Who is the violence? Who promotes violence? And not only that, but I'm not gonna say where I'm at, but there was protests and they were peaceful. I saw them, and unfortunately, I had a sign, and of course, I was far behind waving my sign.
Yeah.
As I was outside to protest.
Yeah.
But then again, you want to come across and say we're violent? We're not violent. We were peaceful. And now what's worse is Donald Trump is trying to get us into a war. And I'm also seeing on
that means
TikTok,
he's violent.
a bunch of conservatives trying to come together. Yes. Yes. And not only that, but I see a bunch of, oh, now we're not MAGA, but we're conservatives. We all have to band together. Where were you? Where were you when we told you these lies that he was spewing? Where were you? It doesn't. You don't come out of your shell until it affects you. And now you come to a realization that if we get into this war, then your children, your family members, your brothers and sisters are going to have to go to war to fight a no needed war. It's nonsense.
Yeah.
It is nonsense. And now you're turning, you're realizing your vote was bad. Now this is the final straw. None of those convictions, the adjudication of being a rapist, none of that. Or when when we came out with telling you the truth, the facts. But until it affected you, until you realize, oh, we don't need no new, we're going to get into war. Now you see the light. Do your research. This is not an olive branch to any of those MAGA people. This is not an olive branch, because now you realize that it's affecting you. We warned you.
WSZ. There's a delay, brother. So that's kind of why I've taken the time to respond. But I noticed that there is a delay. But I want to thank you, because what I saw happening in the chat, was the Trump supporters, despite the fact that they hate what you're saying, they hate you because you're telling, they know what you're saying is true, and they know they've made a very, very terrible decision this previous November. And honestly, this is a decision that they'll have to live with the rest of their life, and they've harmed their children's lives. They've harmed their aunts, their uncles, their cousins, their mothers and fathers. This is a decision that they will never ever be able to reverse. And these people, this is why I say they're prime candidates for hell, because they knew better and they chose evil.
Yes, and also I have to give the great state of Illinois a shout out to J.B. Pritzker and the mayor of Chicago. I give him kudos, saying that if there are any ICE agents kidnapping the residents of Chicago, they are going to be arrested. That is the type of pushback, because let's face it, they are kidnapping good people. They're not illegal. These are human beings. And I give kudos for that mayor, because in all essence, it's not because he's a Democrat, but he gives a shit. Excuse my language. I'm sorry. He cares about his constituents. He cares about his constituents. And I will say this to all the law enforcement that do not abide by this. You have a lot of soul searching to do. You have a lot of personal soul searching, because you are supposed to protect the community.
That part. All right, brother. Well, listen, SZ, I thank you so much for coming up here and telling the truth and shaming the devil, WSZ. All right. All right, champ. I know there's a delay, but I'm going to move on. All right. I know you too. You have a good one. There's a bit of a delay. All right, WSZ. And when he was talking, it reminded me of this viral clip that's circulating the internet. And you know who's in it? Candace Owen. Have you all seen this clip of Candace Owen circulating? What we'll do is we'll get this on the record, all right? And then we'll discuss it, MAGA, because this is what happens when you run into the truth or run into people like myself, all right? This is what happens to you.
Does he think we're stupid? And the people online that are trying to pretend that we are the ones betraying Trump for holding him accountable to his promises that he made to us when we voted for him, when we encouraged other people to vote for him. You're pretending that we're the ones that are problematic? This level of gaslighting that's taking place. You got Laura Loomer out there saying, screenshot every tweet that's against Donald Trump. Let me tell you something, sweetheart. You better start capturing Donald Trump's tweets that are going out right now because they seem pretty against Donald Trump's ideas of yesteryear. That's all I'm saying.
Boom, boom, boom. W Zeus. I'm not going to say W Candace, but I'm going to say W Zeus because I caught that and I placed it on the show. So what Candace is illustrating is the cognitive issues that we talked about earlier. Donald Trump's worst enemy is himself. But Candace, in all fairness, does Donald Trump think you are stupid? I have to say yes, because we know what he says about his supporters. And if you don't know, now you know. Listen up.
You're either stupid or you hate the country.
W Zeus. Yes, for the record, Donald Trump does believe his supporters are stupid. And as the people in the audience like to say, it's actually both. He believes you hate the country too. All right. And so listen up, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. Look at this. Do we have any Trump supporters out there? Any more Trump supporters willing to come up here? Put a 1 in the chat if you are a Trump supporter, and I will bring you right on up. Well, all right, let's go. Good morning, Kabira. Welcome. WQDUD. Thank you.
Good morning.
How you doing, Kabira? They say, I asked them, I say, come on up, and they say, no thanks to me. Oh, yes, good morning.
They're good keyboard warriors. It's easy to holler from the cheap seats. You know, we all do that. Holler from the cheap seats, but get up on stage if you're brave. But I want to bring up something SZ brought up, and then I'll end on another note.
Okay.
This impending war that may happen, that Israel is somehow drug us into.
Correct.
You know, I worry of my 2 grandsons. One is 18. That's the one I told you about that's going to college on a full scholarship. And the other one, he's 20. And so I've decided to myself that I'm going to get these boys a passport, because even though there's no more draft, who knows what crazy Trump might do. He might put a draft, he might institute the draft again. And if he does, I'm going to get my grandsons out of the United States and send them to Canada. I'm just not going to lose my own 2.
Get them out of here, because they shouldn't be subjected to this.
Exactly. And the last thing I want to bring up is the Trump phone. The Trump mobile phone is called the T1 Mobile. That's the Trump One Mobile. So I did a deep dive because I saw a little video clip on TikTok. So I said, let me deep dive into this phone business, just for my curiosity, so I can know what grift Trump is running this time, right? So Eric Trump goes on to say the T1 Mobile and a transformational new cell phone service designed to deliver top-tier connectivity. So I said, So I looked into it more. They're going to sell you a SIM card for $47. Now, mind you, the average SIM card costs $5, right? Now, here's the grift. You take your little SIM card that you buy for $47 that you could get from $5, and you take it to any major carrier like AT&T, T-Mobile, whoever you use, and you're running on their connectivity service. Do you get the grift?
Yeah. He's the middleman in everything.
Do you get the grift? Exactly. Now, so you're basically, you might as well just go ahead and have AT&T, because he's just selling you a SIM card for $47 that actually you can buy for $5 to $19, right? Now, if you want to buy his mobile phone, it's $499, right? So, and so now you're going to have to pay for using AT&T's service anyway to communicate over the airways, whether it's to talk over the phone or text or whatever you want to do, right? And it's supposed to be good for 100 nations. Like I said, you know, the grift with this guy, and he's doing it all from the White House. So MAGA, you go ahead and get that T-Mobile phone with those golden tennis shoes and you'll be okay.
So true. W. Kabira, I think there's a delay when you and I talk too, because I'm noticing that. So I apologize for the delay factor. But
No
yeah, that's
worries.
very,
No worries.
yeah.
No worries. No, I'm
All
good,
right.
Zeus. That's all I want to say. Anyone, don't get that T-Mobile. If you need a new phone, just go get you a SIM card from somewhere else and use a carrier, because they're just you're getting the SIM card and just using another company's carrier service, because the thing is you have to have the carrier service. And he also said in the article that I was reading, these phones will be made in America, but not yet. They'll still be made in China. So, the grift keeps coming. It just, tomorrow to
Wow.
be Trump diapers. Who knows?
Yeah. Wow. Well, you know what? You spot on. And so the phone's made in China. He's the middleman on everything with the phone. And basically, he's just figured out another way to manipulate his supporters into sending him more money. And you know what? I saw MAGA Queen and MAGA Demon. They said they'd pay $1,000 just for a SIM card. So at this point, you know what it is? A fool in their money. They shall soon part, right? Just a delay.
Exactly. No SIM card in the world unless it would cost $1,000. It's impossible. Impossible. Right?
That part.
And I wanted to see if my phone was any phone is compatible with their so-called Trump phone, their SIM card, because all you have to do is look up your what is it, the EM1. The EM1 is on your phone. If you go to in your settings and about my phone, it'll have one EMI or two EMI. So any phone's going to be compatible with it if you have a SIM card. And every phone, even a satellite phone, they use SIM cards. So it's a grift, people. Save your money. Don't do it.
I didn't know that, but all right. I'll take your word, all right? Ladies and
that's
gentlemen.
all I had to say.
All righty then. Well, W Kabira, and we're gonna, because I know there's a delay, Kabira. I think that, once again, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and say W Kabira. Thank you so much. It's not misinformation. It's true, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have all day, ladies and gentlemen, to do what we got to do. Now, I got to talk to this knucklehead right here. They were bothering me. Jumpy, are you there?
Yeah,
Jumpy, are you there?
I'm here.
You're a Trump voter?
I am.
It took you a long time to admit you were a Trump voter. Now you got the courage, especially at around this time of the show. So, you know what? What brings you up here, and what is it you would like to get off your chest? Do you think I've lied about anything?
Yeah, I'm here to defend our president.
Oh, okay. Oh. All right, that's good. That's some good material. I'll give you that. All right, you get a point for that. That's hilarious. I've never heard anyone say it that way. Yeah, yeah. So what is it you're here to defend him about doing?
You crazy lunatics on the left are always spreading all this truth, and I'm just tired of it.
Oh, okay. You're tired of the truth. All right. So I think you're just joking with Big Zeus. I get it, right? You're joking with me. I got it. So I think with that being said, what is it you really wanted to say? Because that was funny. I really think that was funny, the angle you came at that with.
I just wanted to come up here and give Zeus a W myself.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. Because you basically why I was laughing is because you basically vocalized what Trump supporters are doing all over this app every day. They're just trying to defend stuff they can't defend, and it sounds funny when you say it that way. So that's why I laughed. No offense, all right?
No, I get it. If you're not willing to accept any half truths or false statements, I guess I'll drop down.
Yeah, that's what they do too. All right, W. All right, Jumpy97, thank you for coming up here. And so with that, ladies and gentlemen, what I've just done is I've basically talked to every Trump supporter on TikTok with just that one conversation. So W Zeus again, that's all it takes. You don't get that's the quickest conversation that I've had. But in all seriousness, there's a point to be made in that exchange. That's exactly what it's like talking to a Trump supporter. It's hilarious when you hear them trying to defend things that you and I know they can't defend. All right, but listen up, ladies and gentlemen. We've reached that point in the day where Big Zeus has to get up out of here. And guess what? You all deserve a huge, huge round of applause Except for you, Trump supporters, because you all still got work to do. You got homework. All right, W. Kabira, thank you so much. I want to give a special thank you to all the subscribers, gifters, moderators, and panelists, because again, without you, this show wouldn't be as incredible as it is, all right? Seriously. It's engaging, it's entertaining, and most importantly, it's educational, all right? Little Miss, thank you so much. But I also got to give one last round of, you guessed it, booze and shame. And who do these booze and shames go out to, ladies and gentlemen? Well, it's quite simple. It goes out to all of the Zeus haters out there. And these are not just my haters, ladies and gentlemen. These are also your haters. They religiously get on TikTok and promote nothing but the most vile, hateful content a demon could conjure on their own with Donald Trump's diaper. This is what they do. They get the orange flavorade, Kool-Aid, whatever they want to call it. They don't even use real sugar. They use NutraSweet, because you know what that has in it. And then they get Donald Trump's dirty, disgusting diaper, and they go and buy these candles. I guess they got them from Trump's website. And they go into a very, very nasty virus bacteria filled area. I don't know where this place is, but they know what I'm talking about. They got Trump dolls there, and they set this thing up and they worship Donald Trump. All right, and they're humming all kinds of weird things. Now they throw flagpoles in there, and they just come up with some of the most disgusting, deranged things we've ever heard in human history. And they do this, and then they proudly get on the internet with their one tooth. You know, they have one tooth, or they use their avatars because they know there's some ugly people out there. You know they're ugly if they got to use the avatar as their face, right? And they know exactly. And they hate on us. They hate on you all because we love our great country. Ladies and gentlemen, let's send these MAGA-possessed demons where they came from, straight to hell!
Silence, you MAGA demon.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, take care and stay safe out there in those TikTok streets. We're out of here. Wow. Another amazing show. I think despite how nice I am, right? Despite how nice I am, I think word around town is, if I'm a Trump supporter, there's no way I'll be able to climb Mount Olympus. And it wouldn't be possible without all the amazing panelists that come up here, right? It's not really what I'm doing, but it's all the work all of you are doing. They know if you come into this live, you better have all your I's dotted and your T's crossed, right? Let's go. Because if you're going to be in here lying, we're going to catch you and we're going to suppress it immediately. We cooked them right, Sneaky Fingers. Eugene, knock it off, champ. You don't want to end up getting into a dangerous situation with Big Zeus. Of course, I'm the most handsome. All right, but if you take notes, you can probably get there. But it's going to take a long time, Eugene. Trust me. All right, and I'm just being honest. Let's go. We're out of here. Can you believe it? Another show. Happy Juneteenth. Seriously, Tiffany for the people. All right, I see you, Q-Dog. I see you, Heaven Felicia. Oh my God, looking so beautiful. Hey, MAGA Demon, zip it. Because you're an ugly person inside and out, and that's incredible to do. All right, Renee, good morning. Nice to see you. Deb, thank you. Cindy Lou. Look at you. Let's go, Felicia. Little Miss. All right, let's do some drill, baby, drill, and then we are officially out of here.
Kamala Harris's war on Pennsylvania energy, because she's going to ban fracking.
Cece,
right?
interesting.
100%.
Thank you, Cece.
Yeah, she's against fracking, against all this stuff, and then all of a sudden, about a year and a half ago, when she was getting killed in the polls, she said, "I like fracking very much." Look, they always go back to what they want.
Let's go.
They always go back. She can't help it. She's a radical.
You're radical.
She can't help
Tell them
it.
that.
But we're going to end that, and we will frack, 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 and drill, baby, drill.
Thank you. And nobody can drill like us. Dolphin, thank you. You're not the most handsome. Proud radical, you in. W. Kabira.
Go crazy when I say the late great Hannibal Lecter.
Hit it.
Drill, baby, drill, gonna frack. Drill, there's a black crack. There's a baby, there's a lesson for your phone, G. You know she's gonna pay. You know she's gonna pay, G. Like a mercy, was against cracking against all stuffing it, all slapping it, all slapping it, all slapping it.
Killed in the back,
She said, I like cracking very much. Look, they always go back to what they want.
They always go back. You want me to lower your bills? Cut it out, Eugene. And we will frack, and drill, baby, drill. So deep. Let's go. We're gonna pay down our debt. We're gonna lower your taxes. Insane asylums. You know they go crazy when I say the late great Hannibal. Whoa! Kitty Unique! Take care, ladies and gentlemen. So deep, keep it clean. Here it goes. This is my favorite part.
Go crazy when I say.
What do you say?
The late great Hannibal Lecter.
Oh.
They say, why would you mention Hannibal Lecter?
Why would you mention Hannibal Lecter?
We're gonna lower your taxes.
Oh, that part.
Deep insane asylums. You know they go crazy when I say.
Say
the
what?
Late, great
Hannibal. Lower your taxes. Let's go. You know they go crazy. Hey, hello. Can you go? Hey, hello. Can you go? Drill, baby, drill like it's Hannibal Lecter time. We're gonna lower your taxes. Deep insane asylum. All right, now listen, how much you need? Because Tiny TikTok Tim, he can't help you out. He can barely afford to rub 2 pennies together. You know how he gets down, all right? What you need? All right, guess what I'm going to do? We're going to pay off all your debt, and then what we're going to do is we're going to lower your taxes like you wouldn't believe, because guess what? There's so much liquid gold underneath our feet, and all we got to do is drill, baby, drill to get to it, and then after that, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do a little bit of fracking, all right? Because Tiny TikTok Tim, he can't do that. Neither can conservative Democrat, if you know what I mean. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of here. Take care. Stay safe. Happy Juneteenth, honestly. And stay safe out there in those TikTok streets.